Do what thou wilt should be the whole of the law. Frater again. Wanted to make a video today to talk about atheism and Thelema. And, I've talked a lot, especially in the live streams, about how I take this stuff from a more atheist or agnostic standpoint, due to the fact that, nothing has ever proven to me beyond a shadow of a doubt that the supernatural really exists, okay? I also have always been very open to others who do take this from a spiritual perspective, But I wanted to just kind of talk about it because I get questions quite often from people who say, or who think, how can you be an atheist and a Thelemite, So, I just wanted to read a little bit of stuff that Crowley said that hints to it, and, talk about how, Crowley's writings often in many places can be taken from either perspective. So hit the subscribe button if you're enjoying the content, like the video, leave me a comment below. And if you want to support the channel and help keep me motivated going forward, join the Patreon and support the channel directly with a pledge. Also, you can join in when I have live streams and, maybe shoot me a super chat, something like that to help support the channel. But overall, none of that matters. Just hit that subscribe button, and I hope you enjoy the content, all right? So I want to read a passage from 777 in which Crowley actually kind of goes through different types of atheists, okay? And it's interesting, to think of this perspective that he even touches on this. He even directly talks about atheism. And, it's in my mind like the Thelemic system kind of guides you in that direction eventually if you really do the work. Not everyone, but, quite a few of us. So this is an excerpt from 777, okay? This is Aleister Crowley. He says, atheists are of three kinds. 1, the mere stupid man. Often he is very clever, as Bolingbroke and Bradlaugh and Foote were clever. He has found out one of the minor arcana and hugs it and despises those who see more than himself, or who regard things from a different standpoint. Hence, he is usually a bigot, intolerant even of tolerance. 2, the despairing wretch who, having sought God everywhere and failed to find him, thinks everyone else is as blind as he is, and that if he has failed, he, the seeker after truth, it is because there is no goal. In his cry there is pain, as with the stupid kind of atheist there is a smugness and self-satisfaction. Both are diseased egos. 3, the philosophical adept who, knowing God, says there is no God, meaning God is zero, as Kabbalistically he is. He holds atheism as a philosophical speculation as good as any other, and perhaps less likely to mislead mankind and do other practical damage as any other. Him you may know by his equanimity, enthusiasm, and devotion. I again refer to Liber 418 for an explanation of this mystery. The 9 religions are crowned by the ring of adepts whose password is, there is no God, so inflected that even the magister, when received among them, had not wisdom to interpret it. 1. Mr. Daw, K.C., Mlud. I respectfully submit that there is no such creature as a peacock. 2. Oedipus at Colonus. Alas, there is no sun. Even I, have looked and found it not. 3. Dixit stultus in carde suo, ein Elohim. There is a 4th kind of atheist, not really an atheist at all. He is but a traveler in the land of no God, and knows that it is but a stage on his journey, and a stage, moreover, not far from the goal. Doth is not on the tree of life, and in Doth there is no God, as there is in the Sephiroth, for Doth cannot understand unity at all. If he thinks of it, it is only to hate it as the one thing which he most certainly is not. See Liber 418, 10th Ether. I may remark in passing that this book is the best known to me on advanced Kabbalah, and of course it is only intelligible to advanced students. This atheist, not in being but in passing, is a very apt subject for initiation. He has done with the illusions of dogma. From a knight of the royal mystery, he has risen to understand with the members of the sovereign sanctuary that all is symbolic, all, if you will, the jugglery of the magician. He is tired of theories and systems of theology and all such toys, and being weary and hungered and athirst, seeks a seat at the table of adepts and a portion of the bread of spiritual experience and a draught of the wine of ecstasy. So, as you can see, like, Crowley had, I wouldn't necessarily say mixed feelings about atheism, but there were certain types of atheists that he thought were perfect for Thelema, and others that he thought were just, think of Richard Dawkins. So people who actually, like, have so much faith that there is nothing beyond the physical, that nothing could ever convince them otherwise. They basically, it's a turn of religion, make it into a religion. My personally, I don't want to try to identify myself with any of those particular types of atheists because it might seem like grandstanding or something, but I'm more of like an agnostic. I'm more of kind of take a scientific view of it, and if I were to run into something that changed my mind, I would accept that. And, it wasn't always so. And it is true that I kind of got to a point where I was done with all of the dogma and the practices and trying to do all of these things, and I just, like, I don't know. The practices and the doing the work brought me to the conclusions it brought me to, and it brings other people to the conclusions it brings them to. And there are also a lot of other places where Crowley says things that could be taken from a highly atheist perspective. And I want to just share one of those with you. And, everybody's familiar, and I think I talked about this in the last live stream, but I wanted to put it in a regular video here. Everybody's familiar with the first part of this, but a lot of people aren't really familiar with the illustration that comes along with it. So I want to just go ahead and read this. 1. Definition. Magic is the science and art of causing change to occur in conformity with will. Illustration. It is my will to inform the world of certain facts within my knowledge. I therefore take magical weapons, pen, ink, and paper. I write incantations, these sentences, in the magical language, i.e., that which is understood by the people I wish to instruct. I call forth spirits, such as printers, publishers, booksellers, and so forth, and constrain them to convey my message to those people. The composition and distribution is thus an act of magic, by which I cause changes to take place in conformity with my will. Aleister Crowley. So this is just a illustration, obviously, an illustration of how magic doesn't need to be supernatural. He even talks about, I believe it's in the introduction to Magic and Theory and Practice, where he says, in this book is written of spirits and demons and angels, and it is immaterial whether these things exist or not. By doing certain things, certain results will occur. And, he is often like playing both sides of the theist versus atheist thing in a lot of his writings. And, as I talked about in the Kabbalah video, with there being multiple layers to the meanings, or multiple layers to the meanings of verses in the Class A documents and everything else, I've often likened it to putting different sets of glasses on. Like if you read Crowley with your Satan glasses on, you will see Satan everywhere you look. If you read Crowley with your with your spiritualist glasses on, you will see spiritualism and supernatural everywhere you look. If you read Crowley with your atheist glasses on, you will see atheism and materialism everywhere you look. So, it's kind of has to do with the perspective, and as an individual goes through the process of doing the work, their perspective tends to evolve and change. And that's just, Thelemites are not meant to have these hard ideas. That's a Crowley quote. And we're meant to be somewhat scientific and skeptical and journaling and evolving our views. Will is dynamic, not static. It's not something that's always the same, and everything is not always true for every person. The more you do the work, the more you live it in your life, the more your connection to Thelema and your ideas about Thelema will evolve and change over time. And I've said this over and over and over. We all have to build our own personal relationship with the material and allow it to affect our lives in the way it affects our lives, regardless of how it affects others and what conclusions they come to. We have to come to our own conclusions and draw our own parallels to our own life and integrate the material within our reality tunnel, and I use the term reality tunnel. If you look at the introduction to the Book of the Law, he kind of touches on this reality tunnel idea when he talks about how we're both walking on either side of the man. And, although what you see of him is not the same that I see, because you're on different sides, we both agree as to the fact that this is this man, even though not only what I see, but what I know of his character may differ from his. So we all see this same thing, Thelema, when we read the materials, but our conclusions and our connection to it are meant to differ based on our own life experiences, how we were raised, things that's happened to us throughout our lives, and how that has affected the way, we're all different, you know what I mean? And so we approach the material differently, and that's how it's meant to be. That's why we don't interpret for others, and that's why we don't have preachers like twisting and turning the material and twisting it for our ears and telling us what they think of it, because we're supposed to all approach it from our own reality tunnel and from our own perspective and integrate it in such a way that suits us and suits our nature and furthers and fulfills our own wills. So I hope that was helpful to you. I hope you're enjoying the content. Again, hit that subscribe button, like the video, leave me a comment, and guys, join the Patreon. Join it. Love is the law. Love under will.